Hey guys, I'm back here again from C&H Small, and you got another quick video for you guys today. We got dumped on with some snow yesterday afternoon and evening, and we had about we're gonna call almost a foot of snow around our property over here for that, and we got done cleaning the place up here today because it's been snowing yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, and it took us a while to get the property all cleaned up around here for that, and we started having people calling for their snowblowers, and people want their jobs done, you know, like ASAP out there for that. And unfortunately, we got about 10 jobs right now here for that from yesterday afternoon, and people want their stuff done, you know, as soon as possible out there for that. Even though it's like a foot of snow out here right now, and it's still like snowing just a little bit out here right now, but it's almost stopped. But we got it dumped on yesterday evening. The roads are totally covered, and our pussy willow tree snapped in half over here because of the wet snow. The snow is like a really heavy wet snow. It's about 29 degrees outside right now over here for that, and I guess slight breeze out here, but the temperature is going up, so I just want to comment on that first and foremost. But we got a Toro two-stage snowblower here right now. We got this in. Just picked this thing up here probably about 45 minutes ago. This is a long-time customer of ours over here. We repaired this machine probably about 10 years ago, back in 2010 or 2011, and we also did his lawn tractor, lawnmower, I think string trimmers, a couple other things out there for that. And he gave us a call here, and he wanted this thing to take a look at because, like a bunch of people out there, he seen the snow yesterday, and he went out there this morning and tried to start the machine, and it hasn't been running for at least probably 5 to 7 years, and the thing wouldn't start for him over here. And he put a new spark plug in there because everybody thinks it's always the spark plug on these machines, and 99% of the time it is never the spark plug, unfortunately. This one right here, as usual, the carb is basically totally clogged up right here. You can see right down inside the actual carb throws down inside here. It is like you can see old gas sitting basically down inside there, and this thing's going to need a total carb clean and rebuild on here. The problem with these older ones like this one right here that comes to 5 horsepower on them is they have an adjustable carb on them, and I'd say about 8 out of 10 times they come out okay most of the time. But the problem is these adjustable ones, they can be quite finicky out there for that, because we had one this past week. Even though it was an adjustable carb, we cleaned that stupid thing out probably about 5 solid times. I put in a vibra tank, I put in gasoline, I put it in a hot carb soak. We did every single thing we could do to get the thing running correctly out there. We even rebuilt it with 3 new carb kits, OEM genuine Tecumseh carb kits, and the thing still would not come out right. So we had to replace the adjustable OEM carb with a new OEM carb on it that was not adjustable on her for that. And unfortunately, the carbs, because of their price and age, they cost about $70 or $80 for a genuine carb, because unfortunately Fleabay and Amazon, they got a lot of cheap knockoff carbs out there, and if you buy a carb for like $10 on there, it's going to run like a $10 carb, because in the past we were experimenting with those knockoff carbs out there, and what happened was we stuck one on a guy's machine, and he called us up about 2 months later. He was using the machine because we originally repaired the machine, I think it was like January something, where probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and we did inform the customer that we were going to put a knockoff carb on her, and he was okay with it and stuff like that. And what happened was he calls up about a month and a half, almost 2 months later, after using it for about 2 or 3 times. It was running okay for at least 3 times he was using it because of snow. But what happened was after I think almost 2 months, things started leaking quite badly on her for it. And what happened was he put it away in his garage, and the thing I guess was sitting for about a week or 2 or something like that. He called us up and he told us it was just gasoline pouring out of the main, the main throat body right here of the carb right here. And we came out and picked the thing up, and we told him about the deal and the policy and stuff like that. And he was understanding about having to come back out and picking up, and that's not for free if you want to pick up and delivery. And we did tell him he was outside the warranty policy. And after we got it back home, we checked it out, and the carb did have to be replaced because it failed the leak down test over here for that. So we had to put a new genuine OEM carb on a machine, because as we told the customer before, we do recommend putting OEM parts on a job, even though the customer cheaped out and he did not want the job done correctly, and he you know, had the option to have a you know, a knockoff non-OEM carb on the machine, and he was fully aware of the fact, and he was basically kicking himself for making that decision right there for that. So that's why we had to put the correct carb on the machine the second time, even though the first time we did inform him about it, and he made the decision on himself right there for that. So it's always a good idea. Don't buy the eBay carbs. Don't buy the Amazon carbs for, you know, 10, 11 bucks out there. But they're just total junk, and do not do that. So this one here is the Toro 521, and we'll give you a shot of the model number down here as well too. Here's your model number and serial number right down here on a side. Let me see this thing. Here we go. Get a better shot here for you. There you go, guys. 38052 with the serial number starting with 59. That's the main primary one, but the superficial number is up on the frame of these machines right there. You got the number right there, Toro 521. You got your good old yeah, dual control up here. Get your one side over here. This right here is for your auger unit. This right here is for your traction drive, right there. And you also have your selector lever here for your transmission. It's basically a you know, a cheap transmission on these machines, or, you know, call it pseudo transmission if you want to call them that. So you have the 3 forward gears right here, 1, 2, 3, and you also have reverse, and you also have your kill switch up here for your on and off right there as well too. So this one, it's going to need, like I said before, it's going to need the carb either cleaned out multiple times, or the carb might need to be totally replaced on here for that. So we'll go ahead and fire it up here for you, see how this thing runs with the carb problem on here for us. So let me get some ether here and show you how this thing runs when you have a carb, or I should say a known carb problem. The carb's totally gummed up inside here for that. So go ahead and put it on choke, and we'll go ahead and fire it up here for you. Now this is basically a preliminary test of the machine. This thing will, you know, run like crap right now because the carb's totally gummed up inside. And that's what it'll do right there. It'll just, you know, start right up. You put some ether in there, fires up, then it basically dies on you right there for that. And that's a typical carb, you know, totally clogged up. The guy does have old gas in there. We did check the gas over here. It almost smells like turpentine down inside there. Yeah, it really stinks, that gas. He even put new gas on top of the old gas in there, and I thought that was going to help out. I told him, sir, it's, you know, you're putting new gas on top of the old gas. It's not going to help anything, because the problem is your fuel system already has the old gas in the machine on it already, and it's already down inside the carb, and it already did the damage. So unfortunately, it's going to have to be cleaned out multiple times. It's probably going to be, I don't know, maybe $80 to $100 for doing a carb job, because it might take maybe almost 2 hours to get the carb done, you know, cleaned properly. If that doesn't work, we got to put a new carb on this machine right here specifically for that fact. And what we normally do, like I said before, we do like a 3-step process. We put in some new gasoline, soak in there for maybe a couple hours. We put in a hot carb soak tank over there with some hot carb solution there, and, you know, let it circulate, scrub it up with a couple good steel brushes out there. Then the third thing is we do the ultrasonic Jaws cleaner, probably for maybe about an hour in a tank with some Tide detergent in there. Do that maybe 1, 2, 3 times. Take it apart, or I should say take it out of the soak, blow it out with an air gun. Then you want to put it back together with a genuine OEM carb kit out there. Then usually about 90 to 95% of the time that works perfectly fine. However, you always get that, you know, 5 or 10% right there where it doesn't want to do the job correctly. And it seems like these adjustable carbs, like this one right here, this is the older generation, has the fully adjustable carb. You got your low speed over here, and you have your high speed on the bottom down here as well too. And 9 times out of 10, they come out okay most of the time out there. But the problem is you're always going to get that maybe 5 or 10% right there that doesn't want to work right, even though you clean the crap out of it, and it's still not functioning correctly, and you have to replace them with a new genuine updated carb on here for that. So we'll give you another updated review video after we get this thing done and, like, you know, cleaned up, and we'll see if it's going to be satisfactory running with a cleaned and rebuilt carb, or if it may need a you know, genuine new OEM carb on it for reference points. Plus, the other thing is anytime you do this kind of job, you always had to thoroughly clean out the tank and the line, and you always had to put a new intake gasket behind the carburetor here as well too, because 9 times out of 10, I'd say at least I'd say about 95% of the time, these intake gaskets, they basically get baked to the manifold or the carb on here, and whenever you take the carb directly off the machine right here, they are either stuck to the carb or they're stuck to the intake manifold. And if you don't replace them out there, and like, you know, a portion of it stuck to the carb and intake manifold and basically broke off, it's going to cause air gap leakage right there, and your carb is not going to be able to run correctly right there as well too. You have to have a sealed intake pipe right there for the proper air mixture ratio going down inside your engine right there, because if you don't have that and you got a gap somewhere between there, you're sucking uncontrolled gasoline and fuel mix going into the engine right there for that, and it's going to cause like hard starting, surging, or it'll basically want to start and stop and start and stop. It'll keep doing that, so you always have to replace the intake gas on there as well too. Plus the other thing is you always have to check your primer lines on these machines as well too, because these primer lines, they get real gummy after a few years. I'd say about maybe 5 to 7 years, because if your car might start leaking, it might start leaking gas on your primer lines on here as well too, and these things have to be replaced over time, and it's always a good idea to check the primer line and replace it, and also check the primer bulb here as well too, because these primer bulbs can develop cracking along the outside of the bulb's body on here for that, and if it starts developing cracks, it's not going to want to work correctly right there for that as well too. So that's basically everything I can probably try to tell you about you know, checking on your machine before you have any kind of serious problems with it. And anytime you got snow like what we have right here, we got dumped on out here, always check your machine at least 1 or 2 weeks prior to any kind of you know, winter snowstorm out there, because if you take it out of your garage, you have 2 foot of snow out in front of you out there, and your machine won't start, you're basically dead in the water. And it's always a good idea to do the preventive you know, inspection of the machine prior to you know, actually needing it to use it for your snow blowing your yard and property and your driveway and anything else, your sidewalks. So that's everything about your good old Toro 521 snowblower. We'll do a follow-up video here probably I'd say probably about a week from now, because if the carb doesn't turn out right after cleaning it out, we'll probably have to order a new carb in here. So stay tuned, guys, and if anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot, just drop me a message here and I'll try to get back as soon as I possibly can. I'll see you guys and have a nice day.